Starting. So, welcome everybody. And we are on the last actual lattice work in a series of crystal lattice works. We will have one more session in this segment, which is to do with amorphous type crystals. And that will be next week. And amorphous is not technically crystals. It's obsidian or Shiva stone or fairy stone or Mennonite, whatever you want to call it. So it's a lot of different kinds of stones. So we'll be doing that next week. This week, we are going to be doing tetragonal lattice work. As always, the ground rules are that please don't, if you have a question, write it down or put it in the chat and don't send it, because if something pops up in the chat, I tend to get distracted and I lose track, and then I have to figure out where I was. And so I don't want to do that. Hopefully everybody laughs at my bad jokes and puts up with my cliche statements that I say along the way. First thing we always go over, part of our call down for doing this work, is we go over the 3 C's, which is choosing, cleaning, and charging or programming. I just put it under the same one. Crystals. And it's the most common question that people ask is how to choose crystals, and then how to clean them, and then how to charge them. So choosing crystals is really very much, you have to be connected to your instinct and what feels right to you. Crystals wink. I know that's not a technical term, but when you see a crystal, you could see it online, you could see it in a store, and it'll wink. It'll be like, hey, and you'll know that that's the crystal for you. Now, there are numerous very good and ethical online sources. Jordy sells Scaldi gems. Is that right, honey? I know that you're on mute, but I'm just going to assume that that's right. She sells
Scotty's gems, like the goddess Scotty, yeah. Skadi. And yeah. Thank you.
So she sells crystals. I sell bracelets, and but there's lots of good sources. Just do a little bit of research, read the feedback. People who really love, I sometimes buy from the Crystal Council. Besides Jordy, the Crystal Council has good kind of rare small pieces that sometimes I buy. They're expensive, but they are researched and ethically sourced, and I wait until they're on 40% off. so that's not quite as right now. I'm not allowed to buy any more crystals, and yes, so this year is going to be a little bit different than last year, because last year I spent way too much. So that's choosing them. Etsy has some good stores. Facebook has some good groups that if you that individual sellers, but you've got to trust yourself. You've got to trust what you feel. And if anything ever looks too bright, too pink, or fuchsia, or too blue, it may be dyed. And there are some very common ones that are dyed, which includes dyed howlite, which shows up as turquoise. Now they're calling it Chinese turquoise or howlite turquoise, but it's howlite. And it has some of the color frequency to it, but it retains very much the aspect of howlite. So, there is a certain, and I had to go through my malachite after a couple years, and I ended up having to throw away probably about a third because I didn't realize from when I'd started collecting that they were fake. And crystals are heavy for the most part. There are some that are lighter, but most crystals are heavy. So if you ever get a crystal that seems really light, it may be resin, just as a note. So that's choosing. So you get your crystal, you're super excited, you run home with your crystal. I have an egg. And then what do you do? So you need to clean it. You need to clean it because it's been through lots of different people. It's been through lots of different connections, and it carries those threads with it because it's a crystal formation, so it holds them. And so you need to clean them. I do not ever use water because there are so many crystals that react poorly to water. And if it's got iron or copper, or if it's got some of the metals, that it really doesn't do well. And if it's porous, like this particular, this is Phoenix stone, it's got malachite. Malachite doesn't like water, but it's got some porous in it. And so water gets into them and then it rusts. Obviously, we all know this is selenite / satin spar, whatever you want to call it. And it will just fall apart. It'll just rust and then crumble. So I don't use water. I use smoke. You can burn incense. I sometimes use a little bit of charcoal with a resin incense that I use, and then I will take that crystal and move it through the smoke. Intention is a huge part of it because you're releasing all the other connections so that that stone then becomes clean with you, comes connected to you, and connected to itself. And it is size doesn't matter. I mean, size is beautiful and great and awesome when you get a big piece, but each piece of crystal connects to all of those crystals that are in the planet. It connects to the planet. And so if you have a small piece and that's all you have, it is connected to all of those other pieces in the planet. And as you clean it, remember that as it's going through. So smoke, sound, I use forgot to bring it over. I use a Tibetan singing bowl a lot of times and if they're small, this is a small one, I'll put it inside of it and then I'll hit it. This one's got a little bit of a warble at the end, which usually means that it's not that it needs to be cleaned. So then it starts to get clearer. And usually I do 3. And that one sounded clear. That one sounded much clearer. So sound, you can use the human voice. I don't do that because that would scare everybody, including my animals. So I don't do that. But if you've got a great singing voice, you could sing through it, sing it clear of all the connections, breath work. I struggle with this one, but I've gotten better where you ground yourself, you center yourself, and then you breathe through it. And as you're breathing through it, then you're releasing all of the threads that are connected to it. So you I know some people are really good at it, and I think probably air signs are going to be better at that. Me being like an earth fire sign or fire earth sign, I think it's just a little harder for me. So I don't use that as much. Selenite, satin spar, which I showed about don't get it wet, is a natural cleaner. I have a big piece that's like this big, and when I get new crystals, they all go on top of it. It is a natural cleaner. It cleans out all of the connections and it cleans out all of the crap that can get collected if you're using a stone for something very specific, for cleaning, for healing, then you obviously need to clean it when you're done. And so then you can put it on the set. It's sold as selenite. There's arguments and there's fusses about selenite and satin spar. I am not going to get involved. There is a clear kind of selenite, and they both clean. They both have those same properties. There are some other stones that do as well, but selenite's a more well-known stone, easier to get a hold of, fairly cheap, and it works a charm. So that's what I do most of, besides sound. Is I use selenite more. When I get new crystals, I just plop them on it for a couple days. You can use moonlight and sunlight to connect them, and then this moves into charging them. Some crystals, many crystals, particularly colorful crystals, will fade if you leave them in the sun. Citrine, this is fluorite. And so when you put that in the sun and you leave it, charging it, getting it cleared out, getting it sort of powered up, if you leave it in the sun for like an hour or two, it's okay, but I don't leave them in the sun on a regular basis on your windowsill. And so then charging. So charging again can be something that you do. You can open up your sensitivity on your palms and in your hands so that your hands are connected to your energy, into your center, and you can hold a stone and you can ask it and request that it help you for a specific purpose or journey or function or whatever it is that you need it for. And so it's a crystalline structure, so it holds it. And you many times will feel, especially with your hands, that you can feel when it gets full, and that it's programmed and it's ready to go, ready for use. You can program in the sun, in the moon. Many people talk about charging crystals in the moonlight. You can do that. You can put them in the windowsill. You can put them outside if you know it's going to be dry. If your windowsill does not have direct moonlight, it really doesn't matter, because the moon is going to shine through whatever barrier you have already there, because that's the power of the moon and the sun, is that those energies come through whatever freaking wall we have up. And so just like you can get sunburnt when it's cloudy out, those rays still come through. The moon, you can have a rainy night, and then full moon, you want to charge up your crystals, you can put them on your windowsill, and it will pull that energy back into them. And that's one way to charge up. So there's the 3 C's. And that is what, if you ever come back to another class, I will go over it again and again and again, because these classes are up on the internet, and I want people to be able to feel confident in when they are working and purchasing and cleaning crystals, that they have those tools. So today we've been working on the lattice work, which is the chemical structure of how crystals are put together. And we've gone through 6 of them. We are now on the 7th. And then the next week, next class will be on those things that are not considered crystals, but we use them as part of the crystal family. We talk about them as crystals, and we utilize them, and they have and carry the frequencies that are innate to them and that are very useful. Obsidian is one of the most common. And it's volcanic glass, and so it's not of a crystalline structure. So today we're going to look at the tetragonal. I will spell it. Maybe. Tetragonal. Oh, yes. Okay, that's it spelled. And it is the lattice work that goes with this. Let me just shrink this. The lattice work that goes with this is two sides are equal, and then the third side is not equal to those two sides. As you all know, I use my little box. I actually thought I threw it out when I cleaned out the office, but I found it. So we have the little box that I use since I'm not using slides or anything. And so you've got one angle that's one size. This angle's the same size, and this angle is longer. And that's this combination, this part there, that is the tetragonal combination that they then build upon at a molecular level. So you build down, it goes here, it goes here. And it, last time we talked about the, oh my God, I just escaped. One that was very, very stable. And this one is, it's stable, but it's not necessarily known for its strength and stability at that crystal level. They're finding more and more functions for these crystals in regular work and thermal properties and mechanical properties that they utilize it. And tungsten is one of the minerals that is connected to the tetragonal crystals. And tungsten is a very, very common mineral that's used in lots of manufacturing. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't know. But when it comes to tetragonal crystals, it has certain qualities, and that we'll go over. And so these are obviously not quote unquote scientific. These are to do with the esoteric and spiritual tributes that go with tetragonal crystals. And they and these will show up, so that I have like 4 main groups, and these will show up in the crystals that we talk about that are part of the tetragonal family. It is also the smallest crystal family. All the other ones have lots and lots and lots of crystals that are connected with it, but tetragonal crystals is very small. There's I couldn't find 2 that I wanted to use, so I only had 3 other choices. So there's usually, many times I have a whole bunch of choices to choose from, and this time it was a little bit more narrowed. So with tetragonal crystals, there is a sense of strength and stability that comes from this structure. It is believed to help individuals build internal strength and to provide that sense of stability, not always so much the physical stability, but that sort of that connection, the mind, emotions, and body connection, that kind of stability that allows a person to handle more challenging situations. It allows a person to connect to their strengths and their resilience. And so it also comes with a sense of resolution. So that kind of strength that comes when you know you have the backing, internally you have the backing. So that's one of the main aspects of tetragonal crystals. grounding and balance. And everybody that's worked with me knows that I believe that all crystals are grounding. And also, just as a side note, if you only have one crystal and you need it to do something specific that may not be what the internet says is its innate qualities, you can ask a crystal to help you with anything. And because it's a crystalline structure, it will help you. So it's great to have crystals that have a frequency that allows them to promote and be stronger in certain areas. But if I was sent to a desert island, I would just ask for the master healer clear quartz, because you can put anything that you need into it to help you wherever you are in your journey. So the other part is it's grounding and it's balancing. And because of the structure of it, it's it's not as stable as the square cubic lattice work, but it is very stabilizing and grounding, and it absorbs and transmutes negative energy. So when you have energy coming in that is taking away, that these crystals are able to move it and change it so that then it is something that you can handle, something that you can work with, and something that you can connect to. I think that it is and part of that is because it really does connect to the earth's energies. And so the earth is able to kind of shift that because it's part of her function. One of the other aspects is to do with manifestation and focus. And this shows up in all of the crystals that we'll be looking at, is that there's a kind of mental clarity, that kind of mental fog that can come, particularly if our emotions get out of whack or get overloaded. That a lot of times we can get that kind of lack of mental clarity. These stones are really good for mental clarity, for goal setting, for manifestation, when you're putting forward what you want to see to happen, when you're putting out in a signal that this is how you want things to be. These crystals respond well to that. They provide, besides the clarity, they also provide a lot of creativity. And while none of the stones that I'm going to be working with talk about the solar plexus energy center, they almost all talk about all of the energy centers, but it has that solar plexus kind of creativity and positive self-power, that the power that you have in yourself. And so that it adds to one's intentions and inspirations, and aspirations. So another one is to do with being protective and amplifying energy. And so these are great for if you only have a little bit of something in you, you can use these crystals and it makes it bigger. It adds to it of its own accord, so that then you have more of that particular energy that you need. It is really good at helping boundaries. And it's not necessarily in terms of helping you set boundaries. It helps clear some of the emotional negativity that can come, but it helps you keep those boundaries in place, reinforces them, and reinvigorates, because boundaries are not static. We do not sit down one day and say, these are my 10 boundaries and that's it. It's not how life works. boundaries are in motion and in action, and you have to shift them as you grow and as situations change. You have to be able to shift your boundaries, what you will have and won't have in your life, that those boundaries then say, I'm not dealing with this. Or in some situations, you can't have a boundary where I'm not going to deal with someone because it's your ex and he's the kid to your dad. So you have to deal with them. So you set how you're going to be with them, as opposed to, I'm never going to talk to this person again, because that doesn't always work, especially with family. And boundaries are really important with family. So it helps with boundaries that are already in place. And it also helps lift the guilt and shame that we put upon ourselves by helping us understand that it's like the mental clarity. When it lifts it up, you're able to see where that's coming from. So these are the four sort of main threads. And the crystals that we will go through, you will see these threads showing up, and how their specific frequencies are. You'll see how the tetragonal energy comes through and manifests through each of them. We are working with 3 different stones today, and I'm going to take a sip of some tea. I usually have my little blue cup, but I wanted it to stay warm, so I put it in the big thermal cup. Okay, now, so we are going on to the 3 stones that we're going to work on. 2 are ones that most people have heard of, and 1 is one that most people have not heard of, and it's called Scheelite, and it is not spelled like it sounds. It is spelled C-H-E. And I did look up how to say it properly, because I didn't know how to say it, so I looked it up, because we have those abilities today. So that's it. And they say it's Scheelite, even though you'd think it'd be like ski light or something like that. Scheelite. It's one of these tungsten materials. Basically, it's a calcium tungsten. And here are some of the manifesting things. So, as you all know, I love when you can find out about a crystal that's used in something every day, like finding out that blue kyanite is a part of spark plugs, which just tickles me pink. The blue scheelite, this is what it looks like. I have very little. This is a palm stone that I have, and this is a bracelet that I have. And I don't have a black light with the right wavelength, but it has a fluorescence to it, and they use it as a fluorescent pigment. So they break it down and use it for fluorescence, which I thought was pretty cool. My little crappy $3 black light didn't do anything, but it doesn't half the crystals that it's supposed to show doesn't. So I need to get the different wavelengths. So it is, this crystal this is blue, obviously. It also ranges from yellow to orange to red. And it is the initial feeling when you feel it is that it's a very soft energy. But what it's able to carry across and what it's able to assist with is just phenomenal. So in terms of for energy centers that it is focused on, it is one of these stones, and that goes with all of the energy centers. It goes from our root all the way to the crown. It is, even though it's blue, which would put it at the throat, or up into the third eye, it is not. It is a stone that works with all of the energy centers, which means that it's a really good balancer. At an emotional level, it takes that creativity that we spoke about in the tetragonal structure, and inspiration and joy. It is a stone that can assist in causing a positive outlook, and to provide us with starting to feel the joy that we can then manufacture, we can then build in ourselves. And so, yeah, so it's self-confidence, self-expression, and giving that sort of positive outlook on things. Obviously, many people would put that at the solar plexus, but this is systemic. It's all of them working together, and having that positive outlook is not isolated to our solar plexus. It's through all of the centers that we have. Mentally, it is mentally grounding, bringing us down to earth, which usually allows for a better mental process, because then we're not stuck up here, picking up all the noise of the day, week, environment. And it stimulates mental clarity, focus, and problem-solving ability. And at that sort of mental and emotional areas, it shakes off doubt and fears and resentment. It has that flip that happens, and it allows for that to be able to help. Sorry, Andrea, I got a little distracted when you popped in. Hi, Andrea, I'm glad to see you. And we're working on blue scheelite. So it has that mental problem-solving ability. It brings us down so that our brain can function and work. Cognitive functions, decision-making, and it's also really good for public speaking and communication. And I should probably carry this around in my pocket all the time, because it probably helps with not talking too much. And so at a deeper, more core spiritual level, it is, again, connected to one's personal power, to one's confidence and self-esteem at that core level, as it moves into a higher and more authentic. It helps with being able to be in one's authentic self as much as possible, or to work towards that, because we don't wake up and it takes work to get to who we are, because of our culture and because of how our society puts things upon us. And so this helps with being able to express at that sort of authentic self, and to promote that inner strength that then goes through our system and allows for all the different levels to cooperate and work together. It has one of the comments which I could really see that connects back to the tetragonal thing, is that it is associated with spiritual growth and with increasing inner awareness. So if we have something that is turning away, or it's allowing light to shine on something, we'll just use guilt, something that we feel guilty for, this would be a really good stone, because it's going to hold you, it's going to allow you to be able to see that and then release that. So in that way, it transmutes and allows you to get it out of your system. Your boundaries then will be in place, so it can't get back in. It'll get back in, you push it back out, and then you get it so that then eventually it's out. So it's one of those stones that can help with that. It can facilitate a deeper connection to the higher consciousness. And so blue scheelite it's actually it's a really beautiful stone. And it's got all these different levels of blue and white, and there's a little bit of like a slight tan orange down there, and it's got some stuff up here. It's really beautiful. But then again, every crystal is really beautiful when you start staring at it. So that is blue scheelite. Now we will go to the one that Jordy will probably call in and say, no, that's not how you say it. So it is, street name is Peacock Ore. Technical name is chalcopyrite. And it is, we see it, a lot of times it has these colors on it. That is from an acid wash that is put on it. Without that, this is the color that it looks like. It does not look like pyrite because pyrite has cubic structures within it. So it's easy for them to look very similar, but it is, this almost looks more like a gold foil put on a stone, even though that's not the case and it goes all the way through. It has that kind of texture. So it's not like pyrite that would have a lot of crystalline type structures. Historically, it is known, I believe my understanding was that it's very close to copper. So in copper ore, they'll find a lot of this. So it has a connection with copper. So this is one of these stones that you absolutely do not want to get wet. It is a little more brassy looking than pyrite, but it is actually given, a lot of times people don't know the difference or don't see the difference. At a physical level, like I had said, that the scheelite was like a super soft feel to it. This has a sense of warmth and radiance with it. It comes across, it radiates. And I just found this out today, so I'm going to try it. Aids with hair growth, because the change has not been good for my hair. And I'm trying whatever I can do to keep as fluffy hair as possible. And it aids with detoxing. So those are the physical connotations that are connected with it. You all know how I feel that if you are on medication, please do not get off your medication. This is a complementary source, and it can help at a complementary level. Regardless of the medication that you're on, do not think, I'm going to take this because it's going to fix. That's not how it works. It works in conjunction with the whole system. Another stone that goes all the systems together. It has all the centers working together. Emotionally, it removes emotional and energy blocks. So if you have built up a loaded area, if you have built up something that doesn't allow for energy to move smoothly, this is a really great stone to help you be able to see what's causing that. It also promotes, it promotes joy and happiness and positivity, which can help dissolve emotional barriers that we've built, because it's an opposite kind of energy that then allows it to move. We were talking about in the beginning, we talked about how it transmutes negative energy. So if you've got those blocks, this is going to help with transmuting that and giving you an opportunity to be able to work and promote happiness within yourself, promote it outside with joy, positivity. lifting one's spirits and increasing one's self-esteem at a deeper level, and moving forward. It has that very much of a stone that's about moving forward. At a mental level, again, it does the sort of clearing of the mental fog. It stimulates mental activity. It enhances perception and promotes intellectual clarity. So if you are trying to process something that could be challenging for you, it might be a little bit difficult, might be dense, that this would be a really good stone just to hold and then go through what you're trying to process or what you're trying to read, and see if that helps with your ability to understand and to retain. It is, again, helps with problem solving and decision making. In aligning all of the energy centers and clearing out energy blockages, it's also has a aspect to it that is very much about connecting to the bigger picture, connecting to the universe, connecting to higher realms. It works with promoting spiritual insight. So Shiite, we were talking about how it's more like your emotions and you're moving those out. This is going to be a little bit working more towards the higher things and the things that we, the blockages that we build up at a mental and deeper level, that this is one of these stones that can work to help clear that out, and give you a connection to the universe, as well as help you practice your clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, whatever clairs you are working on. It helps with giving you that connection to your intuition, your that part of our lives that are bigger than just us. And it has that sense of empowerment. This goes back a bit to the emotional part, has that sense of empowerment, self-will, and manifesting one's dreams. And again, we talked about it with when we were talking about tetragonal crystals, it's about manifesting. And so if you are working on seeing something specific happen, that this is a stone that can be very effective in moving and having that be having that manifestation move forward. Obviously, we know that manifestations, we either have to be very specific or we have to accept something broad, because if you are vague, you might get a vague response. So manifesting needs to be fairly specific. Now, the one I've been waiting for all morning. Sip tea. Apophyllite. I love apophyllite. I was talking to Jordy before, until I find another one that I love, and I love them all. So, but apophyllite is one I have on my desk. It's one that I think about often. And it looks like, and I have quite a bit of apophyllite. So this is a very nice cluster. It's a bit cubic. You can sort of see it. It's got some beautiful flashes in it. And it is incredibly, it's energizing, and it is rejuvenating. It has this sort of pick me up. Here is it comes in green as well. Green is rare, and I have a fairly good sized piece of it. This is a rare piece. And this one sits by my desk. And I'll put it back there now because it sits on my counter on my laptop. And we'll talk about it this way. So talk about it. The apophyllite is at a body sense, at a physical sense, It is good for rejuvenating the body and giving that sort of physical energy and that sort of physical pickup that can be very useful. I read in 2 places that it was good for sight. Um, I have really crappy sight, so I don't know. I don't know if it's how I'm not sure how effective that is, and then I would just assume that working with it and holding it might help. I don't know. So I don't have firsthand experience with this. Um, it is used quite a bit in jewelry, even though I I don't have I think I've just got like 1 or 2 pieces with apophyllite. It can also show up. This is a really cool piece. I just found this one. So you've got a bigger piece here and here and here. And then you can't really see it, but they're just growing and they're all little cubic attempts of growing that didn't continue for whether they were mined or for whatever reason. But these little tiny, it's like druzy, it's like a druzy quartz, but it's a, I guess the term would be a druzy apophyllite because you can see all the little squares. They're not the quartz shape, but they're apophyllite shape. So I just thought I'd share that one because that one's really cool. And then this is the one that I put in my pocket when I need it. I'm going to hold the big one while I talk about it. So it has this sort of rejuvenating energy. It does feel energizing when you hold it, and you hold it in your palm and you kind of open up to it and feel its energy. It is rejuvenating, has that kind of pickup. Emotionally, it has a calming and uplifting effect at the same time. So it's calming in terms of the moving the mental crap out of the way and allowing your emotions, because many times mental and emotional stuff gets very embedded and intertwined. And so it gets the calming aspect of the emotions, which allows for then the reduction of stress and anxiety, promoting the emotional well-being and healing, and encouraging connecting to peace and tranquility. It's good for, moving into the mental part. It's good for self-reflection. It's good with, again, mental clarity and insight and decision making. It is really good for moving that fog that happens that can come down. It's really good at moving that mental fog, enhancing intuition and promoting a sense of inner knowing and understanding. And in that sense of inner knowing and understanding, I think that it's because it kind of moves out some of the blockages that we build in ourselves. It helps shift those out and allows you the insight to see what's there and what you need to do to be able to move on. It is very much connected to the higher realms. It is not tied to all of the centers. It is tied to the crown and the third eye. So it's very much up here. Wow, I can feel that. Oh, sorry, distraction. And it is allows for like your spiritual life, that spiritual existence that lives within our physical body. Um, it allows those higher realms to feel more accessible, to feel that they're closer, and to facilitate being able to grow at a spiritual level. And that allows, when we grow spiritually, we then become more connected to the bigger picture, the universe, whatever language works best for you in that format, that it's that bigger possibility and connection to the divine. It is used in a number of different meditation and spiritual practices, particularly in the Middle East and in some of Asia. And it is again, used for meditation towards spiritual awareness and spiritual peace, to be at peace with oneself. It is believed to be used to facilitate with one's spiritual guide, and to promote a deeper understanding of one's spiritual paths. Again, helping increase our clairvoyance, our being able to trust our instinct, because it vibrates at a higher level. It allows you to be able to connect a bit higher, feel the higher things in yourself, and feel the higher things around you. And it helps remove, and I think I sort of, this is different language that I wrote, which was really good language, which is, it helps remove spiritual blinders. So we put things in place at a core level because we don't know how not to, or because we've been wounded, or because we don't know better. And so we get these blinders where it comes to personal insight and a bigger connecting to a bigger picture. And so Apophyllite's really good at helping sort of, as it lifts that mental fog, it can also give you insight and remove some of the spiritual blinders that that have been put upon us, or that we put upon ourselves, sort of open them up, and be able to look inward and see what work needs to be done. It has that energizing lift, that energizing component. And so it is, I think that's really important. That sort of having that energizing lift as you start to see things at a bigger picture can allow for more work at a deeper level. And I'm passionate about crystals, and so I really, I believe that you can utilize them to the best of your ability to be able to have them help you grow as a person, and to be able to get reconnected to that bit of spirit that is within all of us, and to heal some of the damages that happen from living in the world today. So that is Apophyllite, and that is the class for today. And I am going to stop the recording, and then usually we talk for about 15 minutes. So I will stop the recording, maybe. Yes, stop. Yes.